And welcome everybody to Stay Tuned Sports on this very special, super special college football playoff bracket reveal show. We're going to find out the rankings, final rankings for the year. We're going to find out where everybody is on the bracket. We're going to find out who's playing who, where are they playing, what's going on. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Jimbo, how you doing on this fine Sunday morning?
Not used to this. Not used to being up this early.
I know. I usually never wake up before noon, to tell you the truth, especially on a Sunday like this. Stretch out, then get ready to just absorb another pounding, painful day from the New York Giants. But here we are with something a little fun to talk about here. I know you don't have that problem because you got the Eagles. Oh, we got to think we're Markley. We're so good. But yeah, as you can tell, I got a little bit more energy in me right now because we're so early. It's like, yeah, this is nice. But yeah, here we are. Last night, looking at the games throughout the day. Anything strike you? Anything hit you as either something that was super surprising, or did you think maybe everything happened the way it was? And how do you think this is going to break down?
Let me turn my phone down first off. I thought Texas could pull out the win against Georgia, but so I didn't expect Georgia to win.
I thought they were going. I thought Texas was going to win. I thought they'd get that second win. Again, I got some questions when it comes to the penalty calls that were going Georgia's way. I mean, it looked like there was a little bit of old boy SEC home cooking there, if we're going to be honest. Clemson, I think, was a surprise. Clemson was a surprise for me in being able to do what they did. Basically they were just smashing SMU most of the game. SMU was able to come back. And now we see here. I'm gonna see if I can get away with something here. Hold on. I'm gonna see how much I can get away with it.
Overall, we said that if Clemson wins, it should cause chaos for the brackets and the rankings and shit like that. But I think overall there's gonna be even more chaos because of some of these wins, some of the losses, how close they were, like Penn State and Oregon. I really thought Oregon was just going to blow them out of the water. I didn't think Penn State would only lose by 8 points.
No, the fact that Penn State hung around as long as they did, I will give Penn State credit. Now, again, it's yet another top 10 loss for James Franklin. So, there's no such thing as moral victories when it comes to the college football playoffs. But I mean, Penn State was game, and I'll give them credit because I thought they were going to get blown out. I thought they were. Now, I think the big question here, when it comes down to because Texas lost, because Penn State lost, but they lost close, where do they decide to seat everybody? Where do they decide to have everybody? Who ends up where? Does Alabama get in? Does SMU fall out? Does SMU keep onto that last spot by the skin of their teeth? I think that's the question. If you ask me, no. I think Alabama gets in. I think Alabama gets in. I think they should get in. SMU has no top 25 wins this year. Again, they're very much an FSU team to me. They have a great record, big record, but they didn't play anybody. They didn't do anything. And then you play the 17th ranked team in the country, and you get, for the most part, the doors blown off you in that game, and you had to mount a miraculous comeback just to have a chance. And then even then, you still fucked that up. So I wanted to be on SMU side here, but I'm sorry. Oh, Alabama's got 3 losses. Yeah, and SMU now has 2. But Alabama also has 3 top 25 wins. They have some great wins. They beat Georgia, who's going to end up probably being the number 2 team when this is all said and done. So I'm putting Bama in. What is your thought on that? Do you have SMU in or out, or do you have Bama in?
So if they go with how they're supposed to go, judging these teams and stuff like that, yeah, Bama should be in. But if they're looking for an argument, like I said on the show this past week, if they're looking for an argument to help themselves to expand to the 14 teams or however many teams, they'll keep Bama out, have them at 13 or 14, but see, we got to go 14 teams now, and You
Well,
get
they
some
were
better.
already talking about that anyway. And again, there's a lot of things that need to be changed with this that I think we've all recognized and noticed. Number one is the conference champions, the top four conference champions, automatically getting buys. Get rid of that. Sorry.
Yeah.
The conference championship gets you in. Fine. Perfectly fine with that. That's an automatic bid. You're in. You win your conference, you're in. But you should seed it based on the rankings and how you have it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, they get in. Which again, in my thinking, I don't think Notre Dame's top four. I think because of the Texas loss, and I think because of Penn State playing so close with Oregon, I think the way that they're going to come out with this is Oregon won, clearly. Georgia now goes from 5 to 2. I think you have Oregon. I think you have Georgia. Then I think you have Texas. They get knocked down a spot because they lost in overtime in the SEC championship game. They're not going to punish them too badly for that. They're not moving below Notre Dame with Texas. And Penn State, they acquitted themselves. They played very well against the number one team in the land. So I think Penn State's fourth. So I think it's Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Penn State, then Notre Dame fifth. I think Notre Dame gets knocked down a spot because you got to make room for Georgia, who just won. So Georgia goes up. I don't think they punish Texas, and I don't think they punish Penn State as nearly as much. So I think Texas and Penn State each move down a spot. Georgia moves up. Notre Dame moves down a spot. And so then we'll be 5, which means we'll probably end up being the 7th seed, which, depending on how everything else breaks out, probably, if I had to guess, means that we're playing Indiana. And then that means our opponent would end up being, I believe, Boise State would be the number 3 seed overall because of the conference championships.
No, yeah, I could agree with that with your the top four there.
And then it's just, I think your top 4 is obviously going to be Oregon, Georgia. Those are your top 2. And then you have Boise's going to be 3. I think Arizona State gets 4. Now Clemson clearly is going to be the last one in. They will be the 12th seed as just getting in. And then the biggest question with this is, as we've all kind of thought, if SMU lost, do they get in over Bama? That's gonna be the biggest question. And I think that's just what we're waiting for, waiting to see. As we hear Saban here bullshitting.
That's the determining factor, not wins.
I'm just waiting to see what's going on here, when they start to reveal it, when we're going to get close here. Okay, so they're still not saying shit. So, well, let's jump over to the big board here. Woo, diddly-diddly-doo. I'm going to put that in because I tried to share the selection show screen with you on Discord, and it wouldn't let me. Although yesterday it showed the game, like I tested it out, and it showed an ESPN feed, and then I put it on this one, and it won't show it. So I don't know what's going on.
Is that where it's at? ESPN?
Yeah. Yeah, because for some reason it just won't show it. Yeah, but I can just show this screen for us, where you can see kind of what we're looking at here, as far as the big board, where we have everything set out there. We have all the teams set up here on the bottom, and we're gonna see, hopefully soon here, who's getting revealed. I wonder how they're going to do this. They're going to break it down ranking. Are they going to show the rankings first and then the bracket, or because if you show the rankings first, then that kind of that's a climax killer, man. That's just edging, because we then will already know. It's kind of anticlimactic. I think you have to show the bracket and reveal the bracket first and see what we have. But they're going to sit here and bullshit for like a half an hour before they do anything, aren't they?
Pretty much.
Oh wait, I just realized I have these things wrong here. I gotta fix the big board here. I could do that too. I'm gonna do that live right here.
So you get to see some behind the scenes.
You get to see some behind the scenes of me actually doing a little bit of artwork here. See, look at this. Look at this. What's that? Look at that. That's so cool. I'm so cool. I just realized that was all wrong. I was like, oh, I can't be doing that. because it's not you're not getting into that other spot. There we go. Now we're good. It's such a weird setup they have for this thing, and like I said, I don't like the fact that they don't have reseeding. I don't like the fact that they have the automatic the top 4 conference champions get automatic bids to the second round. I don't like the fact that they only have home field. It almost feels like if you get the automatic bye, that you're almost punished because you now have to go to a neutral field to play against the team that just played the week before. And, you know, that team could end up having a momentum. You're coming off cold after 3 weeks now of being cold. See, it's not like football where it's week after week after week after week where you kind of need that bye. You know, it's already going to be 2 weeks before the playoffs start. So every team right now has got a 2-week bye.
Yeah.
And then all you're giving is a 3-week bye now to another team. Like, I'm not sure about that. Plus, then you don't get to play a home game. I think that absolutely needs to change.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like the NFL, you know, the 1 and 2 seeds get home field. Well, it used to be get home field advantage. Now it's just the 1 seed. But the same thing should be with the 4, the top 4 there.
Yeah, no. That's what I mean. Is because again, it's a silly fucking attempt from the bowl people who, you know, still think they have money and influence to fucking say, well, we still matter, so make sure that these games are in a bowl, and money changes hands, and they lobby and they say, well, here, you get a big fucking cut of this if you include these bowls here, and make sure. Stop it. Like, just stop it. If you want to have the bowls for the semifinals or whatever, fine, but I think even that's fucking stupid at this point. Let's just rip the fucking Band-Aid off the bowls. The bowls don't matter when it comes to determining a national champion now. Here's the thing. The bowls never really did matter at the end of the day, but now they supremely and utterly don't fucking matter. So to still try to cling to these fucking bowl games, let the bowl games be what they are for everybody else who doesn't make the playoffs. And they can fucking choose and do whatever if they still want to do that. But the bowls need to recognize, and I even mean the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. As much as I love it, and I love the pomp and pageantry, I'm sorry, it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
They don't have national championship games at the Rose Bowl anymore. They don't have any, oh, well, we're part of the semifinal, or we're going to host a quarterfinal. Who gives a fuck? Nobody cares. It's not the Rose Bowl. It's now the quarterfinals of the playoffs. That doesn't mean anything. The Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Cotton Bowl, doesn't fucking matter. Guess what? Your consolation prize is now, all of you, hate to break it to you, the bowls don't matter. They need to knock that shit off and just start giving these teams straight home games, home field advantage. If you go ahead and you're the number 1 team in the nation and you don't get to host a home game, meanwhile, a team that's going to be ranked what? Indiana's going to be ranked either 9th or 10th here in the rankings, whatever it's going to be, and they're going to be in. Ohio State is going to get to host a playoff game. Fucking, you know, it's not right.
Yeah.
You know, to where you're one of these teams that you're number 1, you're number 2, all these other things. Like Georgia's not going to be. They just hosted an SEC championship game. Let's be honest, but they don't get to host a playoff game. And you know, you think about Arizona State. Arizona State doesn't get to host a game now. Yeah, they have to go play the neutral site. I don't know. I'm wondering. I don't know what bowl games are associated with what. I'm wondering if they get to go to the Fiesta Bowl, so maybe that would be better. You know, they get to basically play in Glendale, so that would be okay. But still, like, allow these teams to have campus home games here.
Yeah, but like Arizona State compared to Georgia, I mean, Georgia should have a home game because they're higher ranked. They like we said, they just pulled off a big win. Arizona State, they're what, ranked 15th, 20th, something like that.
Well, they're going to be they were 15th, I think, and I think they're obviously going to be higher ranked now.
Yeah, but still, I mean, they're not going to overtake Georgia.
Well, no, Georgia's going to be number 2, so no, they're not going to be the. Arizona State's not going to be the number 1 team in the land, Jimbo. We know that.
No, I know.
But and to that fact, like if you wanted to do that, like I was talking about it in the concept of how the playoffs are set up right now.
Oh, okay.
But if we want to talk about in the future, like how it should be, if they want to change that, then yeah, then it should be the 4 byes, depending on how this all breaks down, would be the way I predicted it would break down would be Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Penn State. Those would be your 4 byes. Yeah. And then Notre Dame would be 5th ranked and also have the 5th seed, so then they would get a home game. And then it's who's there? 6th is Ohio State. 7th is Tennessee. 8th is who the fuck is 8th? Who is the 8th ranked team? Is that Indiana? Indiana's 8th?
I think Indiana was
no, Indiana's not. SMU was 8th, but they lost. So Indiana's probably going to be 8 now. So then Indiana would get a fucking home game. You know what I mean?
Let me see. Yeah, so SMU was 8, Indiana 9, Boise State is 10.
Yeah.
I know we're talking about playoff brackets here, but real quick, do you think Genty wins the Heisman over Travis Hunter or no?
It's close. I think it's close. I think it's a lot closer than we thought about maybe a month ago. I don't know.
I'd like to see Genty win it.
I like that fucking kid from Arizona State, though.
Oh,
Scatterbo?
Yeah.
I love that fucking kid.
He's a beast.
He's got a goddamn hammer for a head.
Yeah.
Got a giant fucking noggin. I love to see that. Okay, and ESPN, man, you guys can just drag this shit out, can't you? Good thing I didn't go. I was going on earlier because I was like, oh, they're gonna, release this, and then we're not gonna have time to talk about it. They're fucking just yammering the fuck away. Can we get down to it, please, here, guys?
Yeah. Like I wish that first 15 minutes release 10 through 12, and talk about that. Then 15 minutes later, 8 through 10.
Well, no, I think that you should release the 4 byes first, which we already know who it's gonna be basically. But you release that so that we know what's going on here, and just tease a little bit. At least show something. You can show something without showing something.
You know the most powerful man in college football is right now? Zach Feldman in graphics. He knows the answer to who's in the bracket and who's not.
See, us graphics guys, we're always in on this shit. Right there, Reese? We know what we're talking about. Playoff selection show. Now we're going to put more ads in here because that's what college football needs is more ads. Dude, college football commercials are just the worst. They're worse. I mean, you think maybe there's too many ad breaks in NFL games, dude. College football is fucking atrocious with their ads. Absolutely atrocious.
I do like the Dr. Pepper one though. I always like that one.
Calvin in the chat, how you doing, Calvin? He says he's happy for Boise and for Arizona State. It's great to see some of these other teams come up. Arizona State with an absolute dominant performance against Iowa State there in the Big 12 championship game. Arizona State 100% deserves to be in this field. And the way things broke down with Clemson beating SMU, that basically catapulted Arizona State not only into the playoff, but with a bye being one of the top 4 seeds, which, again, we can argue about that all we want. And the same thing with Boise. Does Boise belong in a first-round bye? Probably not. But because of this weird, funky setup that they decided to have for this year, they have it and they're taking advantage of it. And I think that might be one of the biggest losers when it comes to Boise, is because, boy, you want to talk about a home field advantage. You want to talk about, end of December in Boise, Idaho, being able to host the game. How great would have that been for them? Now they can't do that. Now they're going to be playing in some fucking, Cotton Bowl or some fucking shit like that. Like there's nothing for them to hold on to there. So they lose any and all home field advantage that they could have or should have had Like, that's the thing. If you were going to make the top 4 buys mean something, then they should have been home games.
Yeah.
But again, these are all things that are going to have to be worked out. And I think people, and there's enough people being loud about it, of being like, stop with the automatic buys. Like, the automatic berth, get it. That's wonderful. Conference top 4 conference champions and the top of the rest of 5 conference champion. Absolutely. Get in. I don't think anybody's argued that. It's the fact that you have these teams getting automatic buys that shouldn't. Teams that are ranked 10th, like Boise State, or teams that are going to be lower, like Arizona. Like Arizona State's going to be ranked probably 10th or 11th, I think, maybe by the end of this. So they're going to be ahead of Clemson, because Clemson, I think, was 17th. So they're not going to. Clemson might be 15th or 14th, but they're not going to be that much higher. So even Arizona State, even if Arizona State is 10th, 11th, whatever it is, they get a bye? Like what? Like that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'm glad for them. I'm happy they're in the playoffs, but they shouldn't be getting a bye. Rank them as they're ranked. You know what I mean? Seed them as such. Because otherwise, then what's the point of the rankings then either? Like this is what I mean. Is like they tried to do this to try to appease a whole bunch of different things, and it ended up making nobody happy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to rip that Band-Aid off. Same with the bowls. Same with the, what we're going to do is, because there's the bowls, so nobody gets a real home field advantage, so what we're going to do is we're going to make that for the top 4 and all. Shut up. Nobody gives a fuck. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Have the rankings be the seeding. Okay, here we go. Looks like we're getting ready to get some actual things here. They're explaining it.
When a team pops up for you, so I get to see if I'm ahead or behind you.
Okay. Well, I'm seeing the graphic right now. They're showing the 4 conference champions that get the first round buys. Then they're showing 5th ranked conference champions, potential seeds, 5th champion, potential seeds. They're showing the graphics for that. Are you watching it?
Yeah. All right. I'm only like 2-3 seconds behind you.
Okay. Then 18th first round, they show the 8 teams playing on December 20th and 21st. Jimbo's hoping that it is not at the noon for Notre Dame. So, all right, they're just making sure, because people are stupid, so they do have to play this every single time. I get it. Rose Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Cotton Bowl. Man, geez, like again, Boise State's going to have no.
It's all Southern part.
Yeah, it's all like that's what I mean. If you're Boise State, I'd be pissed. Yeah, we made the playoffs. Oh, we're one of the top 4, but we don't get to. Sorry about the water in the background. But we don't get. I do. This is not a studio. This is my kitchen. So, sorry everybody. But I forgot my train of thought because I was distracted by water. It happens. I have ADHD. It happens. The number 1 seed, clearly, as we know, and it looks like is going to be the Oregon Ducks.
Right.
So we knew that. Oregon is in. Shocker. Shocker for everybody. Georgia Bulldogs. Kind of called it. We knew that. So Georgia is in at number 2.
Led them to victory in overtime against Texas yesterday to claim the SEC and get 2nd seed and the 2nd bye into the quarterfinals. Now there are only 2 more.
Now we're waiting to see what happens here when it comes to some of these other ones here. And now they're going to break it down here about Boise State, Arizona State, and Clemson. Motherfucker, if you're trying to sit here and try to fool people and thinking Clemson's got a shot at one of the buys, kiss the fattest part of my fucking ass. Like I can't understand that. Like that's not a thing.
I mean, just look at the graphics there. Like everything screams that between those 3 teams, Clemson is the weakest.
Well, we know that. That's what I mean. We know that. It doesn't matter about what's on the screen. They were ranked fucking 17th.
Yeah.
Like, let's like stop. So here we go. Number 3 is going to be, I think we already know who it's going to be. It is indeed the Boise State Broncos, as they are going to go ahead and get their bye, which is kind of more of a detriment than anything else. So, and I'm sorry about the microwave noise you're about to hear. Hopefully it doesn't fuck up the signal too badly.
It's nice to see Boise State in there have a chance at the title.
Yeah. And it is Arizona State. So far, everything that I kind of said was gonna. I mean, it was common sense. It's not that I'm some kind of fucking prognosticator here. I mean, it's just common sense that Arizona State was going to be the number 4. So there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got it. Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, and Arizona State. They are your 1 through 4 buys here for the college football playoff to start. Jimbo, your thoughts on that initial reveal on who we have there as our buys?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with it. There's, like we said, there was no real surprises there. I'm more interested in the first round to see who's going to be where they place everybody. And
well, no shit. That's the real reason everybody's fucking here. Like, because nobody gives a shit about the fucking buys for right now. Now it's just a case of seeing where do we put, what's the going to matchups be, who plays in the first round, and then what's the potential matchups. Now, the one that we know with Oregon, and we all kind of know that it's going to be fucking Tennessee versus Ohio State. So the winner of that's going to play Oregon, which again, congratulations, you're the number 1 seed. Not only do you not get a home playoff game, but you get to play either fucking Ohio State or Tennessee. Yeah. Like, that's not great. Clemson, obviously, they get in at number 12 and as the 12th seed, so that is where they will be marked. Let me go ahead and put them up there on the big board here. So we know that. Oh, let me get this fixed up here. Ooh, there we go. So Clemson there at number 12.
So those are the teams who qualified by winning conference championships automatically into the 12.
Okay, so now we're just waiting here for the rest. So we have all the 5 automatic bids in there, and Clemson is exactly where we thought they are going to be the lowest seed. They could have been higher, depending if they were ranked a little bit higher. They could have been 11, 10, or something like that. But
yeah,
Tejas. And that is who will face Clemson, which I kind of predicted. Dude, if I predicted all this last night in the group chat, I'm gonna jump in the street naked, because then I will be a prognosticator.
Yeah,
because so far this is going exactly how I said it was going to go.
I mean, you would think Texas is going to blow them out.
You'd think, but we all thought SMU was going to win too. So.
Yeah.
We'll see. But Texas, they get a home game. So, I mean, really, they kind of win. They get extra revenue. They get to have a home field advantage game. And they get to warm up before they then have to play Arizona State. So Texas has got a pretty decent chance to end up in the semifinals here.
Yeah.
They've got an easier road than I think Oregon has. That's what I called. And Penn State. Oh, my God, I called it all. I called it. I know, dude, I told you. Penn State, they were not going to drop Penn State below Notre Dame. They were not going to drop Penn State below Notre Dame.
So who do you think Notre Dame's going to play?
Indiana.
Okay.
I think it's Indiana. The way the way the rankings is going to break down, I think it's going to be Indiana. I want to put Notre Dame in there already, but I'll wait. I'll wait for the official word from ESPN. But that means Notre Dame's going to be 7th, Ohio State's 8th, Tennessee's 9th, Indiana's 10th, and then it's either Alabama or SMU at 11. Is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Dude, I should have been on the fucking selection committee. I knew all this last night. Rommel, you brilliant son of a bitch. I read your book.
Yeah, potential to play Georgia. Ooh, boy, that's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, that's. I'm not excited by that. I'm not excited by that. Getting knocked down. Like, I wish Penn State got blown out.
Yeah.
I wish either Texas had won or Penn State got blown out, because then we could have went and faced Boise State out in the desert. And I'm not saying that would have been easy, but I think that's easier than playing Georgia.
When he joined us, how much consideration went into this? Because let's be honest, there's not a sliver of difference between whoever's going to be seeded 8 and 9.
I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with it. As a Notre Dame fan, I'm not happy with it, but it is what it is. Ohio State is 8th, which we all kind of knew. So now at this point, it's academic until we get to 11. So that's going to be Ohio State. Then it's going to be Tennessee.
I kind of want to see Ohio State win, so Oregon could just. Whoop.
That's all right. You're a busy man. Or a busy man. I'm over throwing Tennessee up there since we already know that is who they will be playing. So now it's just the 10 and 11 here. So this is actually coming to fruition in much the same way I thought.
The opportunity for the rematch against Oregon in what was just a great game in the regular season in Eugene, but as Kirk rightly pointed out, the Buckeyes have some things to overcome.
Like, yeah, dude, that's like, if I'm Oregon, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
If I'm Oregon, I'm pissed that's what you have to. This is the gauntlet you get down. Meanwhile, Texas, by losing the SEC championship game, they get Clemson and then Arizona State. Like, that's why this shit needs to be reseeded before the next round. You know, that's Tennessee officially is the number 9 seed. Like, that shit needs to get fucking fixed. Because let's say this all goes to chalk. Let's say Texas wins, Ohio State wins, Penn State wins, and Notre Dame wins. Then that would be 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So then it would be 5 versus 4, which would be Arizona. Oh, it would still end up the same way anyway then. And that's why I mean, that's why having the automatic bids wouldn't be fucking good either. Fuck, like, this is fucking stupid. I just want to point that out. Everybody, this is fucking dumb. The way the college football playoffs did this is dumb.
That's pretty exciting to look at that game. Potential rematch with Oregon.
Well, hopefully they fix it for next season.
I'm hoping so, and not just by adding more teams and being like, well, only 2 teams will get a bye now. All right, so the SEC and Big Ten get buys. Congratulations. That's what they fucking want.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 6.
That's all. That's going to be the end goal of that.
The 7-10 matchup in South Bend. The Fighting Irish will take on.
All right, so again, we could have had a really cool matchup. Instead, it's just an interstate rivalry now. And that kind of takes away any cool advantage of the cold game either, you know.
Yeah.
You got Notre Dame and Indiana. I mean, a cool matchup, but, you know.
The run game, Jeremiah Love, the running back, going against an Indiana team that is, when you look at them, they want to throw the ball.
So now we're down to either Bama.
So now we're down to Bama or SMU.
Okay.
I know people are looking on my thing and they're like, "What do you have Miami and Ole Miss there?" Because I had made the graphics a while ago and I just wanted to show them off. That's why they're there. They're going to milk this fucking last one, too. They're going to milk 11 here.
Yeah.
One spot remaining. I think we pretty much know the 2 teams it comes down to. Does it come down to Alabama?
Thomas George in the chat says, seed by rankings, screw the conference champs getting buys. I think that's kind of what we've all been saying here. Thomas is you know, winning a conference, absolutely 1,000% you should get an automatic bid. You're in. Congratulations, you won your conference. The Big Four, or the ACC is still considered the Big Four, I don't know, but they get in. But it should be seeding by the rankings and how you get in there. And let's see here, they're gonna reveal this soon. Hopefully they don't fucking milk this too long.
Well, they got to fill up a half hour now.
Yeah, I know. Well, not us, because we got to get ready for football here, but
I know that I'm dragging this out.
you are dragging it out. You are dragging it out. I'm not going to lie.
But there are downsides
Let's go, Reese. Come on.
because SMU played in a
Knees to chest. Knees to chest.
couple of ugly losses. But you got to choose one of them. And they're going to get criticism either way.
All right, that's fine. Stop. Man, this motherfucker is... He'd be a good edger. Jesus.
And the final spot in the
The final spot goes to... Drum roll. SMU!
Wow.
Gets in over Alabama. Holy shit, they did it.
will be SMU and Penn State as the
Oh, Penn State's gonna fucking destroy them.
in terms of seeding
Oh my.
at large spot. And so now we'll do the first team out, which
Oh, crafty Southpaw in here saying, "Are you ready for some football?" Oh, wow, Calvin with the wow they put in SMU. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked that they put in SMU over Alabama. Based on what? Based on what are you putting SMU in over Alabama?
The only thing I can think of is Bama having 3 losses.
They have 3 losses, but they have better wins. Any motherfucker can lose. And man, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Like somebody who likes watching good football, and having watched last night, I'd rather watch. I would have much rather seen Alabama traveling up to Happy Valley to play Penn State than see SMU. I'm sorry. And SMU, everybody talked about them. All they had to do was win, and it would have been fine. And people, but SMU, and I think that would have been a cool matchup too. SMU versus Texas, kind of an old school Southwest Conference matchup, and you have some history there and things like that. But SMU going to Penn State, like, listen, SMU is going to get murdered either way, whether they went to Texas or whether they go to Penn State. Especially if Penn State plays the way they did on the last one. That's it. Strength of record rank, Alabama's 9th. Strength of schedule, 16th. Win-loss for teams over 500, they were 5-1, and they beat Georgia, South Carolina, Missouri, and LSU.
And they all had opportunities, and they had some flaws and bad losses.
So that's what that's, you compare that to SMU's, man, it's not even close as to who belongs in that 11 spot and get that last spot. Like, that's crazy to me that SMU got that spot over Alabama. I'm listen, I am not a Bama fan. Like, I'm a Notre Dame guy through and through. Don't like Bama, fuck Bama, no, the whole thing, everything like that. I am not an advocate for Alabama. I'm not an advocate for the SEC. Fuck the SEC. I don't like the SEC and their fucking fake air of pretentiousness. It just means more. Oh, the SEC is such a tough conference. Then why do you only ever count 4 teams as like the teams that you play? Oh, it's a tough schedule. Yeah, fucking Vanderbilt and fucking Mississippi State, the real gauntlet that is the SEC. Kentucky, eat shit with that. Miss me with that bullshit. Yeah. That being said, looking at it from the strict objective fact of, who did they play? What were their wins? What was the strength of the teams that they played? Strength of schedule, strength of record, all of that. Alabama fucking crushes SMU. Yeah. Crushes them. So, again, I'm not a huge fan of that.
But, even last year, we had this with
Florida State.
And the year before there was controversy with that. It seems like the past.
All right, and to that respect, and I'll say this, as many people have said, it's a fucking 12-team playoff. If you're arguing that you didn't get in because you got 3 losses, eat shit, and I get that too. Yeah. So I get that. Like you should have won another game. You shouldn't have lost to Oklahoma 22-3 or whatever the fuck it was. You shouldn't have all those. I get it. I understand it. And that is and who knows? Alabama goes up to Penn State, they get fucking rocked too, probably. Who knows? But if you want to have this pretension of, well, it does matter, and we're looking at it from a logical point of view, and we're looking at it as far as stats and records and analytics and eyeball test, and if we're doing that, then on the surface, putting SMU over Alabama doesn't make any sense. Like to me, it doesn't make any sense. Does it matter overall? As people are going to argue. People are going to be happy about this because big bad Bama didn't get in, and the SEC got fucked, or like they're looking at it from an emotional standpoint. They're looking at it from strictly emotion, not logic. If you look at this logically, if you look at this with an analytical point of view, Alabama should be in. That should be the way it goes. Thomas George in the chat, he says Ohio State Oregon rematch probably coming up there on a neutral field. Look out for ducks. A buck for a duck for a buck, and a buck for a fucked up duck. Ohio State 42, Oregon 24. I'm just going to go out on here on a limb and say I think Thomas might be an Ohio State Buckeye fan. Just think. I'm just going to say. I think that might be here. And just here, SMU's resume. Strength of record, 15th. Strength of schedule, 60th. Win and lost over 500 teams, 5-2. Key wins, TCU, Louisville, Duke, and Pitt. And they got in over Alabama.
Those are top tiers.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
So that just shows that they're not worried about the key wins. They're looking at the bad losses.
Clearly, they think that losses, the losses matter more than wins.
Yeah.
And that losses mean more no matter what the strength of schedule is. So, but what this is now is going to tell me is that this means teams are now going to schedule the cupcakiest of cupcake schedules they can. They're going to make sure that they don't have to play fucking anybody, because what the committee has just said is that wins, doesn't matter how bad your record or your strength of schedule is, or strength of record, you can face anybody. It doesn't matter, who it is. You can play whoever you want. As long as you win, that's what matters.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Yeah.
And that's a bad precedent to set. That's, I'm sorry. It's only going to make college football needs an overhaul. Like I said, I love the idea. I saw someone posted not posted, I think it was called that College Football Tomorrow initiative, whatever the fuck it was. And I kind of ran with some of their ideas. And I think it's great. 8 divisions. You just have 8 divisions. We'll split them up geographically. Fuck conferences. Fuck them. They're done. Fuck everything. We're just ripping fucking Band-Aids off left and right now. Fuck it all. 10 teams in each division. You play you play everybody in your division, so that's 9 games there. Then you get 3 teams that you can schedule from the other ones. You can't schedule fucking lower divisions. You can't schedule anybody. You're scheduling the whatever. I think it's something like 80. It would be 80 teams there that you have in the top. You can schedule from any one of those divisions 3 teams, and that's fine. You schedule whoever you want from there, but they're all the top 80 teams in the country. And that 8th division, it would be a promotion and relegation division for teams coming up from. So, like, you have to win. You have to play well in order to stay up. Otherwise, you're going down to fucking 1AA, baby. And then, like, the bottom 5, I think, of that division would go down. The top 5 of Division 1AA would come up. And then that's how it would kind of like a little bit of a soccer system there. So you do that, and you keep some maybe fresh blood there. In there, but that you have like that one promotion relegation division for like your MAC teams and shit like that, MACtion, baby, and then everybody else up there is permanent. All the 7 other divisions are permanent. They're there, and fucking roll with that. Just fucking roll with that, and then that's it. There's no fucking championship games. You don't have to worry about any of that. Whoever wins who's ever at the top of the divisions, each one, and since everybody plays everybody, there's gonna at least be a tiebreaker for everybody. So there's no. Oh, well, by rankings or by this. No, everybody's played each other. So you're going to have at least one team to win every division. That's 8 automatic bids. Then you can have 8 at-large bids, or if you just want to do the 8 second-place teams from each one, whatever you want to do, or you do the 8 next highest-ranked teams. However you want to do that shit, that's how you do it. And then there you go. There's your fucking playoffs. Done, set, dusted. Let's fucking go. 16 teams. It's all set and done. There's none of this other shit. You have to make it as non-arbitrary as possible, because then you get shit like this, which makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
College football, somebody, it was one of the commissioners or somebody said yesterday, at this point, this isn't a tournament, it's an invitational. It doesn't, this doesn't matter, because we're basing it on opinions. We're not basing it on what happened on the field. And the biggest thing here is this. The SMU getting in over Alabama, I'm sorry, that's based on somebody's opinion of, well, they went to a championship game, so we don't want to punish them. So if they did that, and it's like, yes, but look at who they played. Look at their it doesn't hold the same fucking weight. It doesn't. So I don't know. Again, I might do a video based on that. But my rant over Jimbo. How do you feel about the top 12 here?
I mean, other than SMU and Alabama, that spot there. I called it on Wednesday. I think we talked about it, but it was more the Alabama-Miami. I just think they kept Bama out, so they could use that as an argument to add the 2 extra teams and not change, like how you said, the first round buys and all that stuff. They'll just come out and be like, here's two extra teams, and that'll fix everything.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about they're just going to be like, oh, here's 2 more teams, and then we can just do that, and think like, oh, that'll fix it all. It's like, no, like this needs college football as a whole needs an overhaul, kind of like the one I described.
Yeah,
but you got to tell the conference commissioners that they're out of a job. You have to then try to restructure everything. Like it's going to take. That's going to be hard to do. It's going to take lawyers. It's going to take forever, and that's not even mentioning the television contracts and the billions of dollars that you'll have to either renegotiate or rip up contracts, or they'll be again. It's a never-ending mess when you think about it out from a logistical standpoint, which is another reason why it's never going to happen. But if you want to try to fix this as best you can for right now, get rid of the automatic buys. I personally would get rid of championship games. Like, I think the championship games serve no purpose, other than as a money grab for the conferences. That's all it is. The championship games don't mean anything. So you should have these teams. You should have to play every team in your conference as best as you can. Like, listen, if you got 16 teams in your conference, 18 teams in your conference, guess what? Your entire schedule is going to be your conference. I hate to break it to you. Sorry, go fuck yourself. You decided to be in a conference and have that many teams, you don't get to choose now and play an out-of-conference game. Sorry, you have to play everybody that you can. You have to play 12 games. Sure, you're going to miss some people. You can put them on a rotating schedule, but whoops, sorry. I'm not the one who decided to get fucking 16 teams in my conference. Am I? No. So go fuck yourself. End of story.
Yeah.
You have to play every team. Every one of your games has to be a conference game. And at the end of the year, whoever's at the top is at the top. Sorry. And that's just how it is. That's how you got to break it down. There's no more to it. Or if you want to, and I know they just got away from divisions, go back to divisions, but play everybody in a division. Absorb more teams, make it 20-team conferences, and then have 10 team divisions in each conference. There you go. You play all the teams in the conference. That's 9, and then you play 3 teams from the other conference. That's 12 games. Congratulations, you got a full conference schedule. Now you know everything. Everything is there, set, done and dusted. You get your top teams, whoever's won the conferences. No championship game, no anything like that. You just get your top teams. Bang, they get it. Bang, 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 and then you go by the rankings. And you see who's where. And no more of this arbitrary shit. And again, rankings are arbitrary anyway, but I trust them more than I trust the committee to go ahead and put in SMU over Alabama. Doesn't make sense. Don't like it. Again, you're arguing about the last team in and a 12-team playoff, so there's no real argument here for it. But at the end of the day, I think as far as that, the biggest piece of the controversy of this, and what was generally very controversially less, because they kind of, otherwise, outside of the automatic bids, which we don't like, the automatic buys, I mean, that we don't like, that nobody likes. They got it right.
Yeah.
I mean, Oregon is 1, Georgia 2, Boise State 3, Arizona State 4. Clemson gets the last spot there at 12 because they won the ACC. Perfect. They faced off against Texas 5, which is where I thought they were. Penn State 6. I knew they weren't going to get ranked below Notre Dame. Good spot there. Notre Dame and Indiana, that's where it was going to be. Ohio State and Tennessee, we've known that for fucking a month now, that was going to be the matchup there at 8 and 9. Nothing there's changed. It really was just that last one that was going to be the controversy, and leave it to college fucking football and these fucking people to fuck it up somehow. On a very, they ran up 300 steps and they did each one fucking perfect. Bang, bang, just knocking these fucking steps out. Pa-pow, pa-pow. Glutes are popping, hamstrings burning, but they're fucking popping it. Bang, 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 bang. And they get to the last step and they smack right on the fucking pavement. They fuck it up right at the end.
I like that analogy.
Thomas George in the chat, he says, if Texas would have won the SEC, the Big Ten and the Big 12 would have had newbies as conference champions. Odds 10,000 to 1 of that happening. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Is when you have these things come together, like everybody always wanted to say, like, oh, the Pac-12 was never anything. It was never quite on par with anybody else. Well, they were in a national championship game last year, and they have the number 1 team in the land this year. Except now it's technically the Big Ten. But that's it. Oregon went from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten and fucking dominated. You know? Texas went to the SEC from the Big 12, which was a lower conference. And they went in there, and what did? They fucking dominated. Oklahoma, not so much. But Texas did. And people might argue about, well, they didn't play a real SEC schedule. Well, then stop saying that the SEC is the best conference and the SEC, it just means more. Because you can't say that we're the best conference and we're the toughest conference and then say, well, they had an easy SEC schedule. No, it's either you're the best conference in the land or you have 4 good teams and everybody else is shit. Just like, I don't know, every other fucking conference in the land. How about that? Hamster says, I will literally fight King if he says Bama deserved it more. That's exactly what I've been saying, Hamster. Alabama 1,000% deserved to be in over SMU. Alabama deserved that 11 spot, and they got it wrong. Like I said, they got it wrong. They got it wrong. Hamster says they got it right, and I say they got everything right except the 11 spot. That's the only thing they got wrong, and the record shows it. Dude, I love the Sun Devils. I've always had a thing for the Sun Devils. I don't know if it's because, I like the Devils, and so I like Devils. I like the color scheme. The maroon and yellow is kind of cool. Also, they're a party school, and they have the hottest co-eds. They absolutely do. That's a selfish point of view. I get it. I know. But, yeah, always been a big fan of the SMU. Fork 'em. You got to fork 'em there. So, big. I'm big on them. So, I'm excited. I would hopefully, when they play Texas, because they're going to play Texas, that they have a good one, that they show up, and that Scatterbo there lays the hammer down, and by hammer I mean his fucking head that he has, that giant anvil of a fucking noggin he's got, would be
almost reminds me of Mike Allstott.
A little bit faster than Mike, but he's kind of got that. Just you can't knock him down. People try to tackle him and they just go off on like a side of a bus. Yeah, absolutely. But there we go. We are at we're only a couple of minutes away actually from the NFL game starting. So we're gonna get off of here real quick, and then we're gonna jump on to our next live there, which is gonna be the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. We will join you over there again in just like 5 seconds. It's more like 2 minutes. Because I think I might have to get a drink and put some stuff away and do stuff and maybe get a coffee. I don't know, something like that. But we're going to join you again in just a couple of minutes over there. Thank you so much for watching our college football reveal and reaction show. Again, If you want to go ahead and help us out, hit that like, hit that subscribe if you're not already. And, of course, we have links for our donation station and merch store in the description below this video. We're going to have it over on that stream, too. Browns, Steelers, coming up in just about 5 minutes right here on Stay Tuned Sports. We'll see you there, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.